On today's episode of SouthCack Syndicate Podcast, we got Mr. Mat Powell with Powell Insurance Group with us. If you want to know how to stop working at the local truck stop and running your own company, you just hang out because this is a great episode.
Hey, this is Liz, and you're listening to the SouthCack Syndicate Podcast.
Good day.
Good day. Welcome to the SouthCack Syndicate Podcast.
Jared here.
Kyle Voss, and we got Mat Powell in the house. We're talking...
Glad to be here.
We're talking insurance, but probably a lot more than that, too.
We're going to talk a lot of stuff today, man. This is... we're almost to 50 episodes. Can you believe that?
Getting close.
That's crazy.
That was probably the biggest warm-up conversation we've had before the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of a late start.
Yeah.
Thunderstorm's fixing to roll through.
Is it?
Tops off the Jeep in the parking lot. It's going to be a great day.
Is that where you went?
No.
Oh.
No. I had to restock at Weston Co. Tap Run.
Gotcha. Cool. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you. Glad
Appreciate you coming and doing this.
Absolutely.
Matt's got this familiar face, like he's everybody's dad kind of face.
Do you know how many times I've heard that?
Look, I'm walking around outside the whole time. I'm going, I know this guy from somewhere. I know him from somewhere. And I'm sure our circles I'm sure our circles have ran into him at each other at some point, but I can't recall. But you just got a familiar face.
Listen, I've heard that. I've heard that a lot.
Good.
I think me and Matt probably only hung out maybe twice.
Twice, yeah.
He's birds of a feather, though, man.
Oh, yeah.
I can, just hanging out the 2 times we hung out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a blast. We connected pretty quick.
That's also, and Kyle's pretty easy to connect with.
Yeah.
So you got to be a little easy too. So it'll be fun.
Yeah.
When I say birds of a feather, like we dig the same things, smoke cigars and drinking some bourbon.
Yeah. So there's a rumor out there that you're like not a sommelier, but you're a wine connoisseur.
I would not put myself up in that Greg Kutu, Derek Lunka, Rush Thrift level. Those guys.
Greg Kutu, shout out episode 10.
Yeah,
it's sad that I know that, but
yeah, that was episode 10. I actually watched it. But yeah, I enjoy a nice wine.
What's your flavor, pal? Are you Pinot? You Cab?
I really love Napa Cabs. Napa Cabs.
So they got to come out of Napa.
They don't have to.
But
I've just found that those are the ones that I really like. That bold.
Yeah.
I'm a steak eater. I like to eat steak.
I heard that.
And to have a nice cab with a piece of beef.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
that's my go-to.
Are you a bold bourbon guy too? Like, do you like a Noah's Mill or something that's real?
Bourbon. Honestly, I'm sitting here and I just poured a little Basil Hayden, so I guess I would have to say no.
I mean, I will say this: I like all bourbon. And I think to me, and maybe wine's the same way, but I'm like kind of a mood guy. It depends on what kind of mood I am. Now, I will say that I rarely go to whites, but that's maybe because I've become so used to what I like.
Yeah,
that I don't.
I was not a fan of white wine. When I first really got into wine, but now it's amazing. And if you talk to Greg, those guys kind of say the same thing. And I don't know if that's just a natural progression where you start out with reds and still I'm always love reds.
Yeah.
But then you kind of turn your nose up to white wine, and then you gain an appreciation for it.
You think? Hell, we could probably make a whole podcast about wine. But do you think that's partly because typically, white wines are associated with cheap wine, maybe more in the female demographic, right? Because they're if
less expensive,
it's easier on the palate initially.
Yep.
And so what happens? I think a lot of I'm really speaking.
A lot of men. Well, no, you're exactly right. I mean that was kind of my idea is that. Man, I'm not drinking, white wine. That's like drinking a wine cooler.
Yeah. Boone's Farm.
That's right.
Yeah, or something with a Zima with grenadine.
I married a really nice girl who loves a good Pinot Noir. And she is not a really nice girl if she gets on Cab. Like we have discovered distinction. Yeah. We have discovered what her levels are. And Cab's not on the
tequila.
Level.
Cab is
cheap tequila. Expensive Cab equals cheap tequila. What about Argentina? You ever had any of their wine?
I have had some Argentinian wine, and it. You know what I like about it? It's got like a little bit of a spice to it.
Yeah.
It's got. Have you noticed that? It's got the spice the notes of the spice that you get.
Yeah, you should be a sommelier.
No.
What else are you an expert in?
Listen, not even close. Not even close. I promise you. I am. I'm a novice compared to those guys.
So I would guess, to kind of round out the conversation, dudes typically kind of stick to reds because it's the manly thing, I guess. But once you become sophisticated, once you kind of have a palate with wine and you start drinking nice wines and you roll back around to the nice whites, which is the difference between what, you drink in high school as a white wine compared to what, there's a difference, right?
We ain't talking Boone's Farm, right?
So then you kind of circle around to like a really nice white wine. That's where you're talking about there's a difference.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a difference. I mean, if you find a good, Sauv Blanc from New Zealand, that the New Zealand Sauv Blanc is different than what you can get, around here in Napa and,
Oregon, Washington.
Yeah. And it's just, it's everybody's, and that's one of the things that these guys talk a lot about. They're like, listen, it's whatever you like.
That's true.
It's whatever you like.
Exactly.
You don't
listen to nobody else.
Yeah, you don't have to listen to anybody else. Whatever you like, but yeah, the Sauv Blanc. That's what really got me into testing white wine.
Cool. All right, so let's talk business. So tell us, Matt's in the insurance world, right? What kind of insurance? You're not like your typical
Car insurance. You're not a Geico.
Right. Well, I mean, I do the personal insurance, the home, auto.
So you do all that stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
we do that. We offer that. That's something that I kind of look at that as a service to the community. That, hey, we're going to offer those products. We're going to serve our community and do that here locally. But we also do a lot of commercial insurance, which spreads us across 5 different states.
Yeah. Would you say that's your main? That's your main.
That's the butter.
Yeah. Is that your main business? Is the commercial side?
A good way to put it. The personal lines piece, pays your bills. And the commercial, that's the gravy.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that's the gravy. That's also, for me, that's the fun part.
Well, give us a little backstory of what you were doing before you discovered there was a room for insurance and how you got into that business.
Yeah. So, and I was telling you guys a little bit about when I first got out of college and I landed a job with a petroleum company, Boardman Petroleum. They're actually based out of Georgia, and they had the Smile gas stations in the fuel cities, which were the truck stops all up and down the East Coast, typically off of I-85 and I-95. And they hired me as a district manager trainee. And so I was sent to Mebane, North Carolina, to run a truck stop at 23 years old. And
had no business being there, huh?
Back then, there wasn't Flying J, right? It was Smokey and the Bandit truck stop.
Oh, it was
the greasy spoon.
Yes, exactly.
You got some night walkers out there walking around.
Well, and that's funny that you say that, because that's what the kind of the story that I was going to tell is how green and inexperienced I was.
Had no idea.
So listen, my boss told me, he kept saying, listen, you got to keep control of the lot lizards. Like these
It's a thing.
Lizards, yeah.
These lot lizards are a problem. Well, here I am at 23 years old.
Make sure you take that mic with you.
Like I'm walking around and
Looking for
lizards.
You're like, man, where are we living in Texas? Why is there lizards out here in the parking lot?
Right. And what's the big
iguana.
and what's the problem?
What are they doing?
Yeah. And so that was an opportunity for me to recognize you have no business being here.
Yeah.
You are in over your head.
You're running a truck stop and don't know what a lot lizard is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you were saying too that a lot of the employees that were there were like family and
yeah. So if you had one employee that had an issue with you, or you had to fire or let them go for some reason, not showing up, then you would have an issue with all the employees.
yeah.
So I found myself with a cot in the back where I was having to cover shifts, and we had to have 2 people there at all times. So I was covering shifts and working 80 hours a week. And when I started calculating my salary, I was making less than anybody there.
You're like, I got to get out.
I got to get out. So I called the Career Development Center at Newberry College and said, hey, put my resume at the top of the pile, and anybody that calls, just send it to them. So I got a call from State Auto Insurance. They had a regional office in Greer, South Carolina. And so, they called me, went and interviewed, flew me up to Ohio, told me I was interviewing for a commercial underwriting position.
Yeah.
I had no idea
What that meant.
What an underwriter.
Sign me up. I'm down.
Yeah, I had to look up and see what an underwriter did.
Are there lot lizards? No, I'm in.
As long as there's no lot lizards, I'm good.
I'm
with
in.
it.
You know what? You know what's cool about this story, and I mean, even just to this point, we didn't even talk about that much. But it's like there's something to be said for just, putting in a little effort and going for it. Like he had no experience in either one of these,
Right? Yeah, and just taking a chance and winging it.
Yeah.
I hate the term, fake it till you make it. I don't like that term, but it's more so take a chance.
Yeah.
Make mistakes, learn as you go.
Yeah, be willing
and be willing to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and keep going. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that are probably well qualified that don't get those jobs because they don't even apply themselves.
Right.
Right.
Or they don't see the opportunity. They have no idea it exists.
I think they talk themselves out of it most of the time. I mean, they could be over prepared, right? There could have been somebody that both of those jobs that he had, there was probably somebody that was
absolutely
way more qualified to do it than he did, but they talked themselves out of it because they're like, oh, I'm not quite good enough. I'm not even going to apply for
What if I fail?
a regional manager job. I can't do that. I've only worked here for 25 years at this gas, whatever. Like he never did anything, applied, went in there and figured it out.
Well, it's your typical adapt or die, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You need it out or you're going to die.
Right.
Like, I don't care what it is. Get me that. No lizards, I'm in.
I ain't got to sleep on a cot. I'm good.
That's it. I want to sleep at the office. Great.
Yeah. So I ended up with this job with State Auto Insurance as a commercial underwriter, which was the most miserable 3 years of my life, sitting in a cubicle. It just was not for me. But
Just looking at everything that comes over your desk.
oh my gosh, and just being in that cubicle and confined, and there was a bell that went off to let you know when it was your break, and there was a bell that went off to let you know when you had lunch.
Like high school
I
again.
thought I was back in school.
Yeah.
So, that was just not. I found out real quick that that type of atmosphere is not what I was looking for, or what motivated me. But it laid a really good foundation of the insurance industry.
You saw the opportunity.
I saw, the opportunity. I learned on the company side, the insurance company side, how they operate, what makes them tick, what they look for. And, and there was a claims adjuster who I'd gotten to know pretty well while I was there. And he said, Matt, you need to get into the sales side. And he told me about a company that he had been a claims rep for a long time. And he said, I think they're right up your alley. So I researched them, sought them out, and they put you, I compare it a little bit to that movie, The Firm. Have you ever seen The Firm?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you go through about 10 interviews over about a year period. And if you're married, they interview your wife.
Yeah. I read the book and I was just like, whoa. Freaky.
Yeah. Straight. And it really wasn't. It was just they have a very intense interview process where they've got a very specific personality that they're looking for, and ended up getting a job there and never looked back. I mean, that was where
You fit in.
I fit in.
Yeah.
I did well.
Which, I mean, I guess
Just the 90s.
That was actually, I took that job in 99.
Okay.
So from end of 96 to 99, I was with State Auto, and then moved into that position where I was there for 5 years.
Gotcha.
so. That long interview process probably qualified you. Like they knew that you would thrive there before you knew that you liked it. You know, I would guess that that's what that interview process was for.
Right. There was a lot of personality,
Yeah.
tests that you took and evaluations and so I think you're right. I mean, I think I wanted to give it a shot. I wanted to I also just did not have the mentality of, okay, I want to be paid based on my performance.
Yeah.
I don't want to get I don't want to.
I love performance-based
Yeah.
pay. I'm such a proponent of that.
Yes.
The only people that aren't are the ones that
Don't work.
don't work.
Right.
Like the ones that are like, you mean as much as I work, the more I get paid? Sign me up. Some people are like, no, I want you to pay me X regardless of what I do.
Right.
Right? There's two sides to that.
Right. And so that spoke to me because I said, okay, wait a minute. So my income's determined by me.
That's right.
And you can make as much as you want.
Much as you want. And so that's when I just, I found I'm also a competitive guy. And when you're in that arena, it's a very competitive position. And when you land an account, man, that's like you're playing sports, hitting a home run or scoring a touchdown, and you get that same adrenaline rush.
That's that walk off.
Oh, yeah.
It's a walk off
Yeah.
or the 3-point, and you just hold it up there for a little bit.
That's
you know?
right. That's right. Yeah. And that, I loved it. I loved it. And then after about 5 years, I said, I think I can do this on my own. And so went out on my own, and it was a struggle at first. I tell people, I was living off of ramen noodles and
Building from scratch.
building from scratch. I maxed out 2 credit cards. I was cashed in my 401k, and and I'll never forget when I finally was able to take a deep breath and relax. I sold an account that paid me a $13,000 commission, and it gave me I'm like, okay,
I got 2 months or whatever.
I've got a cushion.
Yeah.
I've got a little cushion here, and then from there, it took off.
So let me ask you this. What was because when we talk about, we've had Ty on here, we've had a couple people that just grind it out in the beginning. And what was the thing you were doing? Were you cold calling? Were you knocking door? Like, what was your thing? You kind of figured out like, hey, I got to, this will work, but I'm going to have to do this.
Right. Trade shows.
Trade shows. Okay.
Did a lot of trade shows.
And you were picking up accounts from trade shows.
Picking up accounts from trade shows. I would go and set up a booth at, for the South Carolina petroleum marketers. And one thing, the position or the job with Federated Insurance, where I was the sales rep, they have a couple of niche markets that they're in. One is petroleum. So I learned that business. They do a lot in contracting. They do a lot in light manufacturing. And to this day, that's a lot of what I do.
Okay.
So I learned and built a good base there, and then just carried it over and kind of followed a model that I had been taught and just pursued with trade shows. South Carolina Heating and Air Association, South Carolina Petroleum Marketers Association, the funeral directors.
Yeah. So you're calling, and the thing that's great about that, now that I hear it, it's like you're in a niche where those people, and I'm guessing, but probably aren't getting called on much. It's not like your normal auto, which I know you do auto, but like, you got how many auto places that you could name the names of the people who do it, right?
No, and I get what he's saying, because we were in Kansas City a couple months ago, and we're in a huge part of us is in the short-term rental game. Mm-hmm. And there's a booth.
Oh, yeah.
And called Safely. I mean, I'm a huge fan. And I met them at the bar and not at the booth.
Right. Yeah.
And so unknowingly, I got pitched. And I'm like, that's it? Like that's like, if everything you say is true, then sign me up.
Yeah.
Right.
He said, stop by the booth tomorrow. Met him at a trade show. Didn't even know the platform existed for a company like ours. Greatest thing we've ever done.
Are you familiar with what he's talking about?
Safely is the name of the company. As a matter of fact, as I'm talking about it, I want to bring the founder in. They're based out of Georgia, and it's an insurance company just for short-term rentals. And so if you're a short-term rental, they charge a percentage or a flat rate by night of bookings. So if you're not booked, you're not paying insurance.
And it's just for...
But if the guest breaks a lamp, then bam, take a picture, they cut you a check.
Really?
And so I get back and I was called my buddy that I didn't know you then, Matt.
Right.
So I was like, we're going to start an insurance company. This is it, man. This is banging. And I looked them up and they're sitting on like $60 million in liquid, because starting an insurance company on your own, as you know, is not easy. Like, you've got to have a pretty good escrow account to pay out.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the whole point of insurance, right?
Right.
And so that conversation kind of got laughed at a little bit and went, I mean, I'd be open to have the conversation, but we really got to sit down. But I'd love to bring the owners here because it's great. The insurance game is very simple and complicated at the same time.
Yes.
Like, there's so many moving parts in that world. Yeah. You know, for the normal guys who wrecks their car and gets a check, that's great. But when the building collapsed on Main Street, oh my God, engineers, CSI was out there. It was just, such a struggle. But I want to back up a little bit, going through your interview process, right, on the other company. Mm-hmm. And we talk about this sometimes, be very slow to hire and fast to fire. And that's about as slow as you can get because, and I didn't want to interrupt because that process, I'm pretty sure that was their mentality. I want to know everything about you.
Yep.
Everything.
You have to fit.
And do you have the resiliency to finish?
To withstand.
Ooh, that's a good test too.
You've got to have the tenacity, for the grit for the next round.
Yes. If you can't grit it out for a year in interviews, we don't want you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. If you're going to give up, if you're just going to throw the towel in and give up.
So as uncomfortable as that was, I'm kind of applauding that company a little bit. I think that's a little excessive.
Yeah.
But we're so quick. Oh, you can do that job? Come on.
Yep.
And then we just get industrialized of mediocre employees.
Right.
I seen an interview today where a guy was like, I don't even do interviews anymore. He's like, I just pay them for a day's work. He's like, I just say, I'm not going to interview you. Come to work. I'll pay you X for the day. I'm going to give you a project and we're going to see how you do. Because
interesting.
This is the thing. I can ask you, hey, if I gave you a marketing project, how would you handle this? And they're going to tell you all kinds of bullshit that, maybe or maybe not they won't do. Versus if they just come in and you're like, look, you can use Google, you can use your friends, you can use whatever you want. I need you to take care of this task for me. I need X. And then you just let them take care of it for the day and you see how they do.
Yeah. And I've seen interviews
where
that's
their
interview. They will pay them for one day. And
they'll have a birdhouse sitting on a table, not put together. And there's the wood, there's a drill, there's a thing of screws, and no instructions. All right, I want you to build me a birdhouse. And they walk out of the room.
Yeah.
And there's a video camera in the corner. And you wouldn't believe the stuff you see. But it tells you so much. Depending on the industry. Obviously, that doesn't work in the insurance. Right. Put together the birdhouse. Now go sell some insurance.
Yes. Right, yeah. Because I promise you, I would have not gotten that job.
He'd have been the one on camera going, what the fuck?
That 100%.
He'd have been a lot lizard. Come here. I bet you can build a birdhouse.
I mean, you're building birdhouse. What the hell? I'm supposed to be selling something.
Right. Yeah.
So is there a lot of turnover in your industry? Not necessarily your own company, but it's a lot. Is it like the used car or the car salesman turnover, or is it?
It's, I would say, so in the sales folks in our industry are called producers. Mm-hmm. So there is a lot of producer turnover. I think the number is about 75% don't cut it beyond 2 or 3 years. And it's because it's a position where you have to be very self-motivated. You have to handle rejection well.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to just shrug that stuff off, wake up the next day, forget about it, have a short memory,
no doubt,
and just go back out there after it. Yeah. And you know, and I tell my guys, you know, when we have a sales meeting, and you know, I'm trying to get them pumped back up and just let them know, hey, you're not alone. You're not, because you do. I tell them, you're out on that island by yourself.
That's right.
When you are out and you're making calls and you're driving around and you're visiting clients and visiting prospects and dealing with claims issues and dealing with service issues, you're out there by yourself. And that can wear on a person. You know, that can start playing mind games. And, you know, one of the things we talk about is, I'll say, have you guys ever driven down the road, seen a business that is a perfect prospect for what we do, for what we sell, and you talk yourself out?
Because you're so beaten down.
You're so beaten down, you talk yourself out of even pulling in.
You're scared of rejection.
They're just going to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. They're going to say no. So one thing that I have the guys do is I say, okay, let's look at the money you made last year. Let's also keep up and track how many calls you made last year, whether you sold an account or not.
Yeah. There's a ratio.
This is what each call, when you get out of your car, this is what it's worth.
Yeah.
It's
The
worth
dollar
something.
amount.
There's a dollar amount. And I promise you, if that dollar was sitting in there,
You go get
you
it.
would stop and you'd go in there and you'd pick
Because there's a ratio.
Yeah.
I would guarantee that there's, between all your sales guys, and it's probably like nationwide, you could probably say for X amount of calls, you close one deal. And that ratio probably doesn't fluctuate a tremendous amount. I'm sure it's different from different territories, but you know, for every, let's say 10, there's going to be one. So you got to get the other 9 out of the way.
That's right.
You know?
Right.
It goes back to the more hands you shake, the more money you make.
Exactly
I mean, that is
right.
the epitome of sales.
Absolutely.
It is a numbers game. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Mr. Matt Powell with Powell Insurance.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. When it comes to your auto and home insurance needs, make things simple and trust your Allstate experts. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your auto and home. Bundling saves money, sure, but it also saves you time. So you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact Clemson Allstate agent Shane Smith at 864-654-1047 today for a free personalized insurance proposal. Allstate, are you in good hands?
All right, let's just jump right back into it with Matt Powell. Matt, thank you for your time today.
Enjoy
to be here
being
with
here.
us. So I've got a little sidebar conversation I want to talk about. So I did a lunch meeting with somebody the other day. Great guy, former guest on the podcast. And I'm the one who called the lunch. Okay, so I was like, Les, let's do lunch. Les said, yeah, let's do that. Not only did he say, let's do that, he texted me the day before, hey, are we still on for lunch? Yep, you bet. 313, see you there. His communication skills are unmatched, right? And then I go to pay, and I was like, I got it. And he's like, no. Pulls out his wallet. And I'm like,
That's not how this works.
In my mind, whoever calls the meeting, a lunch meeting, whoever calls the lunch or dinner or whatever pays for the lunch.
Yeah.
Where are y'all at with that? Matt, where you at with it?
100%. Unless, the only time I would say unless is if it's a client that calls for the meeting. That's a current client and they call for a meeting.
They're paying you.
They're paying me. They're not going to pay for lunch.
That's a good caveat.
So I got a banker that does the same thing. I'll say, hey, can we meet for lunch? And it's adamant, you're not paying. Now, in that case, I don't really like the bank anyway, so I'll take their money for lunch.
And it ain't his money, so he don't
That's
care.
right. It's a local bank in Walhalla, so I'll let them buy every chance they get. So, but other than that, you know, and it's weird. So even if it's female or male, because there is no sex in business, in my personal opinion, if I'm taking a lunch or a dinner meeting, I'm paying for that meeting. There's a lot of validity in what you just said about, you know, well, he also pays me every month for recurring insurance or whatever, if it's your client.
Right.
But I just wanted to get into that for a second.
Well, hold on now, because you got me thinking. So did I technically call for dinner tonight?
You did?
It's not a meeting, just so you know. It's not an official meeting.
No, you texted and said, hey, let's grab dinner after the podcast. I was like, no, we're in.
Yeah.
You're buying.
Yeah, you see, he's playing chess while you're playing checkers. That's why he rolled this in.
I wondered why.
Conversation.
It just got to me. I just figured it out.
Dude, that's a great line. Say that line again.
playing checkers while he's playing chess.
I was.
That happens so much. I love that. Yeah.
Cool. I'm sure I'll get it back from you somehow.
So we've determined that if it's not a client, then the person who calls the meeting is paying the tab.
I would guess the reason that is because the person that calls the meeting is the one that has something to gain from it. Mm-hmm. Right. And I mean, I hate to put it in those terms, but
that's right.
If you're calling a meeting, you need something from that person.
That's exactly
most
right.
likely. Right. So you should, that's kind of your payment for whatever you're trying to get.
That's right.
Whether it's some knowledge, some whatever. Like even if you're not trying to sell something.
Sure.
There's a level of, hey, you're giving up your time. I'll pay for the meeting.
Yep. Okay. I like that. I like where we ended that up. That clears the air a little bit for me.
All right. So let's get back to, where did we leave off for the break? You were just kind of getting into your own
model.
My own model.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
you said agency is the proper term for that, right?
Agency. I'm not an insurance company. I'm an insurance agency. So I'm an independent agent, which means I have a lot of insurance companies that I align with and contract with to market and sell their products.
And so you just basically take the customer, you find the proper fit insurance-wise, you put the two together. He's the middleman, as we talk about a lot.
I'm the middleman. That middleman is necessary.
We talk about that every podcast almost.
I tell you, being a great middleman is the key to success. I mean, there's highlights on Instagram of me saying that several times. It is the place to be.
Yeah. I mean, well, you got the insurance companies themselves that don't necessarily can't source all the customers themselves. You have the customers that don't know the proper fit insurance company wise.
Right.
You're putting them together, and then the insurance company's just paying you a little bit to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. So a lot of times I pay you a lot to do it.
Well, I was trying to be modest for you.
Have you seen his house?
I know. I've seen his house. Yes.
You guys are serving me over here. So
That's right. Hey, honesty's the best
That's
way.
right. See, that's our business model. Drink some more bourbon. By the end, it's like,
Look, we hadn't asked you to show the financial statements yet.
we still got 15 more minutes.
all right.
No, it's crazy. The middleman is so important, right? We cut down 6 degrees of separation and just mine and Kyle's circle to about 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Because my focus is to build a Rolodex.
Yeah.
I may not have a piece of that action, but one day I'll need a favor for a piece of action.
Right.
And it may not even be a favor as like most people think. It just it may be one of those deals where you say, like, before today, you and Matt didn't have, you didn't really know each other.
Right.
But one day you met Matt, hey, I seen so-and-so who owns this building, right? Can you just put me in touch with that person?
That's
right.
Networking.
Yeah.
Man,
It's like more hands you shake, more money you make.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Hey, let me tell you, and I'm gonna mention a guy's name here locally, and he was born and raised here, does business here. He's in the insurance business, but he does life and health and Medicare and so forth. His name's Steve Nuttall. Probably the best networker I've ever met, and he's also part of the Citadel Network. He's a Citadel grad.
He's that Gresham Barrett crowd.
Yes, I'm gonna tell you what, those guys, they understand how to network.
Yeah, they do.
Is that like supplemental?
Yeah.
Can you give us a contact so we can maybe have him on the podcast?
That'd be great.
Absolutely. He'd be a good one to have. He's been around for a while and done a lot of stuff.
You live a really good life on QE, man. Life has been good to you. Insurance has been good to you. What advice would you have for either an employee that thinks they can do what you did with their own company, whether it's they're working for you or not working for you? What advice, what hurdles did you have to overcome, and what advice would you give to somebody that wants to go on their own in your industry?
Oh, fantastic question. I think first and foremost is that you've got to have just the will to continue on, to not give up, to keep going. And I think about, just made me think about that. Have you guys ever seen a little cartoon where the guy is below ground and he's digging and he's digging and he's digging and the pot of gold's right there?
And he quits.
And he quits and he turns around and he's about this far from it.
Yeah.
And then the other guy keeps going and he gets the pot of gold.
Same deal.
Yes, just keep going. Keep going. Don't give up. Every failure is not a failure; it's a lesson. Amen. It's a lesson, and it's wisdom and it's gaining knowledge.
That's right.
And it's just, okay, this didn't work. So now let's regroup and do it different.
Yeah. We had, what was that you were talking about with podcasts?
A lot.
No, you said that there was like, maybe it wasn't even you. Anyway, maybe I seen it on my own, but there was a thing, there was a statistic that came out. I think you said
Yeah. So you're done. So the stat was there are 2 million podcasts on Apple Pod.
Yeah, they're starting in like 1 year. 2
But
million.
only, or like 25% of those podcasts, 500,000 of them did one episode and said nobody watched it and never recorded a second episode.
Yep.
Like,
And then-
what the heck? Now, our reach, and I don't mind saying this, right? So, our reach, we looked last 2 episodes ago, and it was 79,808
I don't know how you remember that exactly.
views because you sent me a screenshot. Views in 90 days. Like,
Let me tell you something.
80,000 people, and I'm thinking, oof.
Yeah.
Hey, New York. Hey, Seattle.
Right.
Appreciate you. Top two
Clemson. Greenville.
locations, New York and Seattle. And it's just blowing my mind. But, and Kyle said, we'll start this thing, but we're not stopping.
Well, and I told him, I said, don't look at metrics because we had this conversation on the break. A lot of this stuff is you got to front load it.
Right.
We talked about this. Insurance is the same way. Like, look, it's going to suck in the beginning. You're going to have to do all the work up front. But at some point, if you stick with it long enough, you can then benefit from all that work you did in the beginning.
Right.
Like it's a front load business, right?
Very much so.
It's not a transactional business. It's a long-term deal.
That's right.
You know, and I told him when we started, I'm like, we're not looking at numbers because he's a big numbers guy.
I'm a data analytics. That's how I work.
I look at numbers a lot too.
And I do too, but what I knew was that the numbers aren't going to look good in the beginning.
Right.
That's what I knew. And so I was like, we're not looking at it. We're going to, and I tell people that want to do YouTube the same way. I say, put your head down. Don't look at the numbers. Make 100 videos.
Yeah.
If you're going to do podcasting, put your head down, make 100 episodes. Don't look at the numbers. If you're going to do insurance, put your head down, sign 100. Don't look at the numbers.
Don't look at the number. Just keep going.
Keep going. When you get to that point, then look up and see. Then you can start like, okay, this looks better than that or that. Then you can start analyzing it.
Right.
If you analyze it too soon, you're going to talk yourself out of doing it.
Well, not only that, you know, in the beginning, what the hell are you analyzing? You're not making anything.
There's no data.
There's no
data.
Yeah, and you're not making it because now that's what I find myself doing more so that it's an established agency that, you know, we are in growth mode and we're there and I need to evaluate the numbers now.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Well,
When you're getting started,
yeah.
keep your head down, keep focused, and keep going.
I mean, at this point in your business, don't you look at the numbers because you want to see what makes the most sense?
Absolutely.
Like this is the business we need to concentrate on. This is the business that.
Great start. Let me ask you
Trends.
this. What's your number one metric in your business?
Margin.
So you,
Okay. From policy to policy?
Well, and when I say that, that is from a business owner, agency owner standpoint. Now, ultimately, you know, that's not the bottom line, but yes, margin.
Interesting.
so
You gotta
you
look at margin.
So you focus. So does that mean you like kind of cater your business towards margin, which is not a bad thing? Like I don't want, you know, everybody that's listening to this, they're all entrepreneurs, they're all business guys. They get it, right? So when you say the number one metric is margin, does that mean that when you look at your portfolio, you're like, okay, this is where the margin is. This is what we need to try to grow. We're going to take it all, but this is where we need to try to grow because we know this is where the margin is. Is that what you're saying when you say that?
Absolutely. I'm not ever saying that, hey, you know, this area is needed and it's necessary and it's good for the community and it's something that we need to serve and do for the community. So we just wipe it out because the margins aren't great. But we look at it and say, okay, our big margins are here.
Yeah.
We need to put some real focus on growing this so we can continue to do this.
Do you ever look at your current customers that are on low margin areas to see if they actually hold high margin insurance, just not with you? Like they're already your customers. And the way I think about it, the way I think about it is, you know, one of the conversations we had is I insure my cars with one place and I insure my real estate with another place. my car guy may never know that I have the real estate, and he does. I mean, I'm just being facetious, but my car guy may never know that I have a real estate portfolio that's insured somewhere else, but he could easily tap into me by saying, "Hey,
what else do you have?
What else do you have? I'd love to take you everything you got." You know, it'd be an easy.
And he's going to call you to lunch, and he better pay for it. Where the air
I
is
like how you worked that in there. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. We're getting pretty deep, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
Matt, let me ask you this: what's the best book you've read? Like, are you a reader? Do you read like motivation or Patterson? Like any of that?
And I will tell you, I am not a big. I'm not a big reader.
Me neither. I get it.
I mean, I'm not. And I will say, and it's been a lot of years since I read it. But when I first picked it up, I knew I wasn't ready for it. And then I read it a little bit later in life, and it was The Road Less Traveled. And that was, and I'm trying to remember the author.
We'll look it up.
We'll look it up Road Less Traveled. And it talks a lot about it's a motivational book.
M. Scott Peck.
Yeah. And so it talks a lot about what I took really from that is delay of gratification.
Yeah.
Delay of gratification.
Which is basically the front load. That's kind of, this is a different word for it, I guess. It's probably the better word. Delayed gratification is probably the better word for that.
No, that's right. That does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but when I call it front loading,
that's right.
A front loaded business where you put in all the work up front and you get paid back later.
Yeah. Spencer Johnson wrote my favorite book, and it's an easy read. It's almost a children's book, but I bought all of my management staff a copy. It's called Who Moved My Cheese?
Oh, yeah.
And it's learning how to adapt when something changes in your life. Like, wait a minute, where'd my cheese go? Well, what is a mouse going to do to get that cheese?
Yeah.
And it is one of the basic leadership principles, like adapt or die.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah,
I think if you break everything down, everything's pretty easy.
Well, everything's adapt or die, or it should be.
Yeah.
Because if you don't.
What about a mantra? Like, what do you wake up every morning that just keeps you cranking? Like, is it making people around you successful?
Other than 4 daughters that are
that'll do that
have
too.
4 weddings and college and everything. Yeah. That's pretty motivational.
That wouldn't wake me up. That'd keep me up at night.
Yeah. But no, I would say honestly, and this is gonna sound cheesy, be better than I was the day before.
Yeah.
I really I think about that a lot. And I want to be better than the day before.
Make progress.
Yeah, make progress.
Well, we talked about it on the break too, where you were like, I want to see people around me do better today than they did yesterday too.
It's so important.
Yeah.
Listen, I was, while we took a break, I was talking to Kyle and got into the subject. And honestly, now I'm at that point in my career where I'm more concerned with making the folks around me successful. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I said, because their success, mine's going to naturally come. Mm-hmm. But I enjoy it. I enjoy
watching people grow,
watching them do well, watching them, get to that point to where, and not just financially, but all around where they feel good about their position in life. They feel good about where they are, what they're doing, and how they're doing it. And, one of my sales guys has told me, he said, listen, I wish I'd have found you sooner, and I'm going to be here as long as you are. And that was a humbling, really solid thing that I remember and I take with me to remind me, hey.
You're making a difference.
Yeah. I'm sort of trying to.
If there's not a business owner that does not have humility, I don't want to work for him.
Yeah. Well, the things like that is what I love in life.
That's right.
I want to make those ripples. We're not going to be here forever, but man, if I can inspire or change somebody's life in that way, and then they can then go on and do the same thing that I did, that's what I want.
My grandpa used to tell me when he was alive, he'd be like, just go by this basic life principle. Love Jesus first, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's leave it better than you found it. Which means if you buy a building, upfit it. Mm-hmm. Right? If you borrow my lawnmower, Jared, bring it back with a full tank of gas. or wash it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, just leave it better than you found it.
The only thing I would add to that would be like a third.
You don't get to add anything
I
with
do.
my grandpa.
Hold
I'm
on.
just kidding. He was the man.
He was the man. And listen, the thing is, he didn't say it, but he did it.
No, that's right.
And that was inspire other people to live the same way,
Oh,
which is what he
wow.
did for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So he said that, but he also instilled it in you.
Oh, no doubt.
So
no doubt.
there's a third step to that. It's you got to inspire others to do the same thing you know.
Well, I've
you
always
do.
said motion creates emotion, right? If you're working at a car dealership and you're the guy drinking coffee, the new guy is going to sit down next to the successful guy and drink coffee.
Yeah.
If you're the successful guy walking that lot, shaking hands, the
He's
new
gonna
guy is
walk
going to
in,
go out there.
shake
You're a
hands.
product of your environment.
Success breeds success.
Yes.
Emotion creates emotion.
You're right.
And coffee's for closers.
Yeah.
Like there used to be a thing in the car dealership. If you got a cup of coffee in your hand, you better have sold a car.
Right.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. When I'm sure you deal with that, right? Your guys, you've done your thing, right? You were the one that was out there making those calls. Now they're making the calls, not necessarily with you all the time, right? So I'm sure there's that dynamic where they see you drinking your coffee.
Yeah.
Because I've already closed a bunch of deals, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now it's your time, son.
Well, and
Even though
and you're right. It could be that way, and maybe they do feel that way a little bit, and I just don't realize it. But we have a lot of conversations.
Yeah.
We have sales meetings, and I talk through them, and I tell them, I'm like, guys, I've been where you are. I
know what it feels like.
I know what it feels like. I know the challenges, and they also know that I'm there for them.
yeah.
They know that
You would go if they needed you
if
to
they
go see a
need-
client.
Listen, I do it.
Let's go. Let's take off. Yeah.
They call me, they text me. I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there, and whatever they need and how they need me. And to be honest, it's nice to be needed sometimes.
It is.
You get into the rat race of managing the business and the numbers and the money and all of that piece of it. And sometimes it can be refreshing to say, hey, let's just go back to our roots.
What got you here?
Take me out and let's make some calls and let's do some stuff and let's have some conversations. And
Makes you feel young again, don't it?
Well, we talk about celebrating wins, and you've come a long way from the truck stop days, man. Congratulations
I
on
appreciate
that.
it. Thank you.
This has been a great episode. So, Matt, where can they find you? Social media, internet? How do they get a hold of Powell Insurance?
Powell Insurance, here right in Bounty Land, 1510 Blue Ridge Boulevard, Suite 101. Also www.powellinsurancegroup.com. Yeah.
And you can handle just about anything they got.
Yeah, I can.
That's great.
Awesome.
All right, guys, we will catch you on the next episode number. You'll find out with the next episode. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate your time,
you,
man. It's
guys.
been great.
All right,
Appreciate it.
enjoyed it.
See ya.